Alright. What in the world? What in the world? Alright, no sound check is there. Alright. It's the San Diego Crusaders crew. Hashtag crews. Coach show. Um, Basic concept. Coach of the RFL, Relocated Football Leagues. San Diego Crusaders. That's me. Takes questions from the chat. 10 questions to be precise, but give or take. We might get cut off early for circumstances. And we're at the home studio, as you heard. The unofficial mascot bark at nothing. Hopefully, we don't get too much of that. We will open up. Open things up for questions in a second. Couple things I want to talk about. Maybe just one thing. We'll put it up on the board. Let's see if the chat works on screen. There it is. All right. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is Coach Austin from the Portland Riverhogs. He was diagnosed yesterday, I believe, with COVID-19. So prayers to him. He does give an update on his Instagram, day one update. Feeling kind of groggy, but the temp has gone down to normal temporarily, and everything for the most part is feeling good, aside from being overly tired. So, again, prayers and thoughts to him. Please pray for him or give him good thoughts, or whatever you do. We all have our different things. Not to get into that stuff. But let's get into the questions, shall we? What's the first question we have? And like I said, you can ask questions in the chat, but we do have 10 prepared questions that were either we came up with or someone else asked us during the week. So let's go. First question. How are you spending the bye week? Well, at home, because COVID, Corona, other than when need supplies. But I'm sure you mean more coach-wise. Just spending the extra time, figuring out the next opponent. I mean, if there's any week to get 2 weeks for prep time against opponent, this would be it. As we're playing the defending NFC champs. So yeah, spend a little extra time figuring out how to take down that challenge. Alright, next question. How do you feel about Sanchez Lawrence's punt returning this season? I mean, it'd be nice if he had a punt return for a touchdown. Let's look at his stats. Yes, he's averaging, I don't think anyone's really averaging that much. Let's look at the NFC, see where he lays. If he's in the top half, I'm pretty happy. If he's in the bottom half, per average. That's really what you gotta do it by, because total yards, I mean, you could just be getting a lot of punt returns and racking up punt return yards with small returns. But yeah, considering he's second on, really he's first for anyone who punt returns regularly. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. Still would like punt return for a touchdown, but I mean, seeing that he's got the best average in the NFC for punt returns of those who do it regularly, I'm not sure if Jordan Dvorak is going to be the Barons' new regular punt returner, but even still, he hasn't done enough to be like, oh yeah, he's better than Lawrence. All right, let's go to the next question. Waiting for it to pop up on the screen. Anytime. There it is. If you could be any celebrity, who would it be? Like I've said before, all the questions don't have to be RFL related. We'd like most of them to be. In regard to this question, hey, what's up, Coach Briley? That gonna show up on the screen there? I see it in my hand. That's why you guys don't see it. That's weird. All right. How you doing, Coach? Am I pronouncing your last name right? Is it Briley? All right. Back to the question. Okay, good. I'm pronouncing it right. But yeah. This question: if you could be any celebrity, who would it be? Pretty much. That's weird. The "What's Up" didn't show up, but yes, sir did. Oh, it depends. I'd probably be more looking to be a celebrity that is going out with a celebrity crush I have, but I can't think of any of those right now. So, I mean, back in the day, I would like to have been Ed Norton because he was dating Salma Hayek. But let's go to the next question. What's up with your change of look for your coach avatar? I guess that's RFL related. Pretty much my original avatar I picked, but someone else already had it, and we're not allowed to have matching avatars. So Mix, who runs the Twitch channel or Twitch games, gave me a new avatar. I liked it, and then he gave me a new one, and that one looks good too. So I just roll with it. All right, we got a question not from us. If you could have any player in the RFL on your team, who would it be? Yeah, that's a good question. I keep, and it's probably because I see them all the time, but Spencer and Garland, who are cornerbacks in my division, I wanted to get. I forget if I had a shot at both of them in the off season. But yeah, I pretty much any good secondary player other than strong safety, I would love to have. I mean, we're last in I think the league in interceptions with one, and I think by far. Let's double check that. Team stats. I mean, I can only see the NFC, but I'm sure it's not going to be too much different. Yeah, I have one. 5 is second. So like these guys are almost averaging one pick a game. I'm averaging one pick a season. That's why we did a little shuffling in the secondary because we need a little extra help there. But yeah, long story short, just a really quality secondary player, free safety or cornerback. Ooh, Ben Wakefield or Dre Crowell? Who you take in a fantasy draft? Are we talking about their ages now? Because people are talking about Crowell retiring soon. Wakefield he could have another 10 years in front of him. Or if he went Brady, 15 or 20. So if we're talking about like their ages now, definitely Wakefield. Everyone's calling Crowell the GOAT, so I mean, if we're talking about same age, 18 years or older, I think not to throw my guy under the bus, I think everybody would expect me to take Crowell, though the connection Wakefield. Oh well, this is a fantasy draft. I can't guarantee I'll have Bentley because he'd probably be the next pick. Both in the prime. Okay, both in their prime. Well, you know what? Wakefield has a chance to eventually overtake Crowell. I mean, he's 27, I think. Let's go check. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I know he's young. Wakefield's in 85 right now. He's jumped up 2 attribute points in this during the season. I think he's pretty close to going up again. Um, Dude, Wakefield could become the new GOAT eventually. Maybe not for a couple years. If he gets to keep Bentley with him. But I mean, if you look at the other guys he's thrown to, you have like a 80, low 80 Colt, Alexander Colt, a 72 Lindsey Hardison, another 70 tight end. He's getting lots of catches too. And he's hitting his running backs too. So at in their prime, I don't even know when Wakefield's going to be in his prime, to be honest. So I think I'm skirting around that answer a little bit, but yeah, that's my answer. See, next question. Do we have one lined up? No, we don't. There's one. There we go. Oh, thank you. For those who are just listening, Coach Riley said, nope, that was probably the best. I really want Wakefield to go up some more another upgrade this season. Like, the sooner the better. Before these 4 big games I got coming up would be great. Because, I mean, we got the Thunderbirds, Snowhawks, Tigers, which should be a win, but then Condor should have been a win. And then the Explorers end the season. Biggest regret of the season. It was losing the Barons game, which the specific regret might have been the playbook I picked, because I think if we would have went with the New England playbook, our offense still would have been firing on all cylinders. But I think we ran either the Oakland or the Carolina playbook in that game. And in that game, everything went downhill after Ben Wakefield ran a QB draw. One of the only 2 QB draws we've run all season, and he fumbles, and it was picked up and returned for a touchdown, and that was quicksand from there on out, because we had another fumble on our own 7, led to a score. We had a pick 6. I think it was only 1 pick 6, might have been 2. But yeah, that's probably the biggest regret. I think dude, any loss hurts right now with the Snowhawks right on our butt. And after this week, they're going to be, them and possibly the Elks will be tied record-wise, but we have the tiebreakers. So yeah, that's the biggest regret. Opposite question, biggest hype moment of the season. That's a good question. It might have been game 1, because I feel like we came out and, like, preseason, no one gave us any love. Like, it was all like, yeah, they're going to finish last in their division. Their defense is awful. New coach, yada, yada, yada. And we ended up, and we were like a 10-point dog to the Elks. We were supposed to lose by 10, or 9.5 was the spread. So we were supposed to lose by 10. And then we ended up beating them by 10. And it could have been more. We kind of like went prevent. It was like, yeah, we'll let you score, but you're not going to have time to do anything after that. So, and then when we won it by 10, if you check the pot, Briley says, Bill say that? That's, one of the podcast guys from the podcast. Bill said it, Smitty said it was in the predictions. If you find the preseason podcast, when they hit up on their predictions for the NFC West, it wasn't too kind for me. It was They either had us finishing last or second to last. I want to say dead last. Um, and just a battle between the Elks and the Snowhawks. Um, so when we beat the Elks, after the spread being so high against us, that was the biggest hype moment. And every win's a big hype moment. Yeah, it was Bill and Smitty. They didn't have too much faith in us. Of course now, I mean after this week, like I said, it could be a three-way tie. We'll have the tiebreaker in the standings. Um, so these last four games for us will be really big. But we have the three auto wins too, so we're guaranteed to be 8-8. But we're definitely going to need to win at least two. Tigers should be one of them. And if we only win two, I would predict it's Tigers and Snowhawks, and I would hope it's Tigers and Snowhawks, because then we have the sweep and tiebreaker on Snowhawks, and we don't have another confidence-shaking loss to a team we should have beat. Because I tell you what, losing to Steamers the way we did, I wasn't that big a deal, because we kind of, even though they beat us by 26, a lot of that was just desperation in the fourth quarter and a bad turnover. But that loss to the Condors, that crushed our confidence. Like, we're like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? Like, the only game I feel like we haven't been in all year is the Diablos game, because they just came out and straight punched us in the mouth and stepped on our throats. I mean, the Condors game I felt like we were in until the fourth quarter. We scored, and then Buki Johnson killed us with a kick return for a touchdown. I feel like we were in the Steamers game, the game we lost 57 to 31, in up into the fourth quarter till we had a fumble on a drive that would have brought it. I believe the fumble was on their 30. But in the second half we were moving the ball pretty easily. But we had a fumble. They returned it and marched down the field and scored. And by then it was three score game and we got desperate. But yeah, I felt like we were in that game till the fourth quarter, and we don't get that fumble. Our defense started working. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, I kind of went on a rant there. What was the original question? Oh yeah, the biggest hype moment. All right, next question. I've lost track of the number of questions. We'll just go till we get tired or home studio today. So if someone comes in, we might cut this off suddenly. How do you feel about the NFL playoff expansion? I'm fine with it. I like that at least one team gets that bye. Though I think teams like the Patriots have gotten that number one seed by running all over a terrible division every year. I don't know how that division constantly stays bad, but that also affects the RFL unless Madden gives you the option to change it. That means there's going to be an extra team. Oh, for those who don't know, the NFL expanded the playoffs to 7 teams per conference. So it's instead of 12, it's like a 14-team playoff now, which means the RFL will be that next year. I like that. It's going to be good. It's going to take a little pressure off from win losses, because you got that extra spot. Though I don't think it's going to give those teams who have a really bad start much hope. But you never know. I mean, you've had teams look like they're going to make the playoffs and possibly be a 1 seed, and then train wreck the second half of the season. But yeah, it's good for us. It's good for all teams really, because it gives them a better shot. It's just the only team it's bad for is that number 2 seed. because now they don't get a bye. But I mean, that's like a one being that specific seed. That's like a 1 out of 16 uh, chance to be the team that gets the short end of that stick. So yeah. Next question coming up. There it is. On the bye week, you giving players extra rest or extra work? We actually that's an option. Got a call from the kicker, James. He asked on behalf of the team, and we're giving them extra rest. That doesn't mean we're not giving them. Yeah, exactly, William. Giving them extra rest, let them heal up. That'll give them, less chance for injury. That'll raise their morale. Feel like it did something else, but yeah, extra rest. I mean, we're gonna have a regular week. Still give them a little. It's gonna be extra practice and preparation for the Thunderbirds either way. So you might as well give them extra rest because the bye week is gonna be extra prep. You know. So yeah. Let's go to the next question. If you have a question, you can ask in the chat. But next question coming up. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. What are your feelings on the next game? Oh, like I said, the Thunderbirds, they are. I mean, for those who don't know, they are the defending NFC champs. So they lost in the Super Bowl. Doesn't really matter for the NFC right now, because they're one of the top teams. Only have one loss. There's no undefeated teams in the NFC. No undefeated teams in the RFL. I mean, unless you talk to coach of the Dreadnoughts. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So anyway, yeah, they're a big game, but they are a little banged up. The sooner we play them, the better, because they'll get guys. What team are the Thunderbirds? They're in the NFC North. Coach Kazera coaches them. They're one of the. Let's look at the standing. Actually, I'm not sure we can look at the standings. But yeah, they're what 8-1, 7-1. Definitely one of the top teams in the RFL right now. And they're the defending NFC champs. You look up. We had week 11. You see their logo. I don't know how else to answer that. But yeah, they're banged up, but I think by the time we play them, they'll have some of their guys back. They had 4 key injuries, if I'm not mistaken, and they'll have 1 to 3 of them back by the time we play them. So hopefully we can take advantage of any weaknesses they have, whether that's because of injury or no injuries. They're definitely one of the teams. In the beginning of the season, when I looked at our schedule, it's like if everything goes right, well, not everything goes right, because if everything went right, we'd be undefeated. Reasonably, we could get through the season with only 4 losses, and they were one of the acceptable 4 losses. Right now, we have 4 losses, so we're hoping for the upset. If we get the upset, I think we'll get a lot of. We might get a lot of love. We still might be underrated. But yeah. So we're still game planning. There's still, still got another. Not sure what day of the week we're playing them next week, but we have, time to scout them. I know we want to do something about that run game. We want to do something about that pass game too. But like I said, we got a lot of work to prepare for that game. Pulling up the next question. Yeah, I have no idea where we are at in number of questions. This is gonna be one of those shows where we just go till whenever. All right. Next question. What team do you feel the most worried about? Like head-to-head matchup wise, we have Thunderbirds, Snowhawks, Tigers, and Explorers. Um, all four of those games worry me. Uh, Thunderbirds and Explorers because I think they are the two of the best teams in the NFC. Um, and we're getting critical time here. The Snowhawks, um, they're come off suspension. They got their best players back. They're gonna be a hard draw, and losing to them messes up our tiebreaker. So that's probably the most important game. The Tigers game I'm worried about because of what happened in the Condors game. I think they're both overall about the same. I think defense offense might be a little different, but if we lose to the Tigers, oh my gosh. So I'm worried about all the games, but for different reasons. Thunderbirds just because we're going to be going that game uh, tied record wise with the Snowhawks, um, and possibly the Elks as well. So that's going to be a tough game when, that could be a game that knocks us out of the top spot, and that could hurt our team. I don't want quicksand happening with that. The Snowhawk game, like I said, we don't want to lose that tiebreaker with them. And, we lose to them, then we're split. And I don't know the next tiebreaker after head to head. That stuff gets very confusing after that. Tigers worry me, like I said, because they could be another Condors cluster mess. And then the Explorers, again, who knows how that shapes up. I like it to where we have the division and we can just rest people. Because I don't really care about 3 or 4. And, if, even if 3 and 4 is still up in the air, I might still rest people. Because I don't think that's that big of a deal. Because we'll probably have to go through the 1 and 2 anyway. But I'd like it if the Explorers were in a position to rest people when we played them. If we're in some kind of trouble, if that's a must-win game. So yeah, all 4 games. At this point in the season, especially in the position we're at, where it's probably division, we win the division or we don't go. Unless us and the Snowhawks both tear it up and they get in and we get in the wild card with only 4 losses, or 5 losses, or 4 possibly. No, I think we'd have to lose one for them to beat us. So, but I'd say Thunderbirds is the one that worries me the most because we got to play them next. There's a lot of things up in the air with that game, standings wise, and we'll probably see them again in the playoffs if we make it. So, Thunderbirds. Long answer short. Oh, there's another question. Having had time to look at your new playbooks, how do you feel about each, the Tampa offense playbook and Baltimore defense? From what I've seen of it, because like I said, I wasn't really able to experiment. I just know I wanted to get rid of the Oakland offensive playbook because that one finally showed me some terrible flaws in it. And I wanted to get rid of the Green Bay defense because it's too much like the Washington defense. And I thought the Washington defensive playbook was better. So just I went into last week why I picked those 2, but anyway, the Tampa one looks pretty good. A few things to worry me, but I think they're at least on the same level as the Carolina playbook. Like if I had to drop one, it would be a thought process. From what I've seen of the Tampa playbook. The Baltimore playbook. Uh, I really have only seen it with one scheme. I'm curious what it looks like with a couple other schemes. So I'm hopeful with that. Uh, hopefully, I wouldn't say it's definitely a playbook I'm going to. I'm trying to figure out its place. But yeah, I guess that's my response on that one. Next question. By the way, you guys can ask questions in the chat before I'm done answering. That way it's there. Of course, if it gets bumped out of my vision, then I might not be able to answer it. But I got the chat on in front of me as well, not just on the screen, so I'll be able to see more than 3 chat histories. But the next question is, how do you feel about the run game? Well, let's look at teams. Team stats. I wish I had, so we're at the bottom in total yards. But the question is, how many times do we run the ball? Let's look at carries. So Bryson's got 91 carries. Lawrence has 76, and then you have a few others with some. I don't even think you can count Wakefield's. So 91, 76. That's 100, and my math is suddenly having issues. That's 167 plus Bentley's 4 carries is 171. Dorsett's 172, Hardison's 173. And then Wakefield really only has 2 actual carries. So it's 175. And what was the total yardage? So we have 100. Doing some math here. This will determine how I feel about the run game. Because I'm very stats oriented. It's showing me 175 carries and 726 rushing yards. Yes. So the average isn't good. We average, I didn't do that right. $726 divided by 175. So we average 4.1 yards a carry, which isn't bad. So really, being so low is because of we just don't run the ball that much. I wish it gave us team. This showed attempts, but it doesn't. But yeah, we got a good run average. We just don't run the ball much, so I'm happy with it. It would be good if, and this is kind of why I switched Bryson to the feature back position, like he's a starting back now. Is I'm kind of hoping he starts shining and scaring people. Like if we can get a run game where teams are afraid of, in that pass game, which is already pretty ridiculous. It's the #1 pass offense in the league, I believe, still. If you had a run game that scares people, and it really should, because, like I said, 4.1 a carry is a good average, and you're adding in Wakefield's runs and other non-running backs' runs to that average. So it could be even higher. So I'm pretty happy with it. Could be better. Everything could always be better. And this is our last question we have in our pocket. So after this question, we'll probably call it unless anyone else has questions. And if you have questions, put them in the chat. What is your favorite and least favorite Madden songs on Madden 20? There's quite a few songs I like on Madden. Um, but there's definitely a song I don't like, I like least, and that's Snoop's song Madden 20. I'm not into it. Um, what's crazy is you have the songs you hear in the menus, but in the game you can hear other songs that aren't in the menu. Like you can hear Coldplay. What else? Like other songs. I can't think of what they are. I just know that one song from Coldplay, you can hear little segments of it. So I wonder why that's not in the menu, or maybe there's a way to unlock those. Because I am a music kind of guy. I love the fact they got those old NFL film songs, or whatever, the instrumentals. I think you have to actually turn those on in the menu, because I think originally they're off. Um, yeah, but yeah, the more songs, the better to me. But yeah, I'm not really tired of any of those songs. I turned the Madden 20 song from Snoop Dogg off because, like I said, uh, I'm not really into that one too much. But all the other ones, I'm in the coach's menu for like an hour, and I'll hear the same song 2 or 3 times. So, a few songs I really like. I can't think of the names. Yeah, but yeah, other than that one, and I'm kind of just da 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 da. All right, let's get this to 40-minute show. It's a minute 20. Um, so thank you to William Johnson. Thank you to Coach Briley for asking questions. Thanks for the staff. Um, be safe out there right now with the Corona mess. Meant to go. Stay home. There's like rumors that taking ibuprofen makes it worse. So maybe if you can, don't take ibuprofen. Remember, anything I say, take with a grain of salt. Don't sue me. But yeah, I wouldn't take ibuprofen. Stay home. There's rumors that maybe this is airborne, or some strains are airborne or something. So treat it that way. Social distancing. Maybe wear a mask. You know, it's okay to take extra precautions that might actually not have any positive effects, as long as they don't have any negative effects. It's all good. Like I wipe down everything when I come back from the store. But yeah, so anyway, thanks for joining us. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. We'll post what time it is, because with this COVID thing, the studio thing is kind of up in the air. Alright. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications to Back to Brag Sports, and we'll see you next time. Peace.